All right, let's take a good posture and with respect and friendliness, give it away. So I always try to relate to something that's going on for me and then apply that to the teachings, do a little studying, Dharma, Buddhism, the stuff, good stuff I grew up with, as well as other ethics like journalism, etc. So in my life, I'm thinking about running for city council, possibly mayor in Boulder, and probably the biggest fear or concern slowing me down is, can I handle this? Can I handle the emotionalism, the emotionality, the criticism that I would be kind of putting myself on the chopping block for not just some people in Boulder, but really anyone who ever pays attention. Different groups are going to criticize different things I'm involved in. It's similar to Elephant, where we cover so many different controversial topics all the time, from abortion to war to immigration to diet to climate crisis or travel or, consumerism or whatever it is, equal rights, gun safety, gun reform, gun rights. That if you don't disagree or take exception to one thing, you're going to disagree or take exception with another. That in and of itself is fine. But there's three categories. So I want to talk about that. So one is criticism. Criticism is, I think, in A+ in my mind. Criticism is helpful. Criticism is maybe not what I want to hear or what you want to hear, but it's fundamental to being not just an adult in this world, but to learning, to being inquisitive, to finding out the truth. To, if you're actually curious about solutions, you need criticism, because it's a bit like you're walking in the dark in a hallway or a path, and criticism says, no, not this way, go this way. And when you hear criticism, you don't necessarily have to agree with it or listen, but you need to hear it. And it informs, it makes you smarter. It's helpful if we take it that way. Then secondly, of course, is praise. Praise, compliments, to me are the exact same thing as criticism. Helpful, saying more of that, that is great, is feedback that is useful. Of course, it's much more pleasant, but I think that in itself can be a little bit of a seductive kind of rabbit hole that you don't want to go down. Praise is something that you want to hear and you want to keep on hearing, but you don't want to get sucked into it or focused on that. That's a distraction. Because if all we're doing is trying to get praise, then we're again losing our path, losing our focus on solution. It's not always going to be pleasant or agreeable for everyone involved. The third category, which is not an A+, is sort of toxic criticism or toxic attacks, being called names or terms without that necessarily being grounded in fact. And even if it is, could it be more solution focused or constructive? There's that notion of calling in versus calling out. You can call out someone aggressively, or you can call them in and say, this is not appropriate, but maybe what you're concerned about is this, and let me tell you why that isn't so. And that can be calling in, that can be constructive. We don't want to create enemies. We want to create a more enlightened society.